First, we'll discuss about today what is firewall device. Okay.
Okay,
Before start this first topic. This first topic is called next generation platform and architecture. Before we start this topic,
okay,
let's talk about what is firewall device first. Okay.
okay,
Firewall device.
yes.
So what do you think about firewall? Khalifa, can you help me? What do you think about firewall? What is firewall device?
Firewall device. For me, firewall device is a device uh
Mhm.
can I don't know filtering devices. So with access control,
We
we
can filter our
filter.
traffic.
Yes,
We can filter our traffic, right?
we can filter our traffic. Yes,
Yes. Okay. So what is firewall exactly? See, firewall is just like a router. Remember always. Firewall is just like a router.
yeah,
Okay, in router we can configure routing, right?
yes,
No problem. You can configure in firewall device. In router you can configure VPN.
yes.
Yes, you can configure in firewall device. In router you can configure NAT. Yes, you can configure in firewall device. So
Okay,
firewall is just like a router.
okay,
Just like a router. But yes, in firewall, we have some advanced feature which router cannot provide you.
okay,
So what is firewall device? Firewall, you can say firewall is a system. Firewall is a system or group of system that can manage access between networks. That can manage access between network. What is between network means what? We are familiar with LAN network. We are familiar with WAN network. What is LAN network? Our private network portion, right?
yes,
In design, our private network portion, it's called LAN portion. So private network is what? It's a it's a LAN portion.
okay,
What about WAN? So WAN is called what? WAN is called public network. Internet side portion, or you can say public side portion, or you can say WAN side network. So we are familiar with LAN and WAN. But in firewall device, we have one more network. It's called DMG network. Demilitarized zone, DMG network.
yeah,
So what is firewall? Firewall is a system or group of system that can manage access between networks. Between network means what? LAN network, WAN network, and DMG network. So we are familiar with LAN and WAN because LAN is for private network, WAN is for public network. What is the use of DMG network in firewall device? Let's create a scenario. Okay, let's create a
okay,
scenario. For example, I have one firewall device, any firewall device. I'm not talking about Palo Alto, any firewall device. So I have a firewall box, and what I'm doing, I'm trying to connect my LAN computers. For example, this side I have servers, web server, SMTP server, DNS server, FTP server, and some computers, desktop, laptop machine, and yes, company confidential servers I have this side, company confidential servers. So I have web server, web server here, SMTP server, DNS server, and FTP server. Now, so what I'm doing, I'm putting all my devices. I'm putting all my devices in LAN side portion. Okay, this portion is what? LAN network. I'm putting all my devices in LAN side portion. Now, this side is what? It's a ISP side portion, public side network. Now, into this design, if I want to allow some traffic from outside,
okay,
if I want to allow some traffic from outside, for example, this outside machine is trying to access web services, for example. So to allow our traffic from WAN network to LAN network, we need to create policy. We need to create policy here. Okay, and for example, in Palo Alto, you can create security policy.
Okay.
In FortiGate, you can create firewall policy. In Cisco, you can create ACL. My point is what? To allow our traffic, we need to create policy here. We need to create policy here. So
Okay.
yes, in policy, I can add source IP, I can add destination IP, I can add service and protocol information, and I can allow some traffic, no problem. I can create policy. I can create policy. As per policy, traffic is coming from outside and can communicate with this web server, no problem, as per policy. But the point is, traffic is initiated. Traffic is coming from untrusted network. This ISP portion, Khalifa, this ISP portion is what? It's an
Okay.
untrusted network, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
It's an untrusted network.
Yes.
So as per policy, traffic is coming in your LAN side portion, no problem. But traffic is initiated from untrusted network. So it may be possible this traffic is trying to compromise your other devices,
Yeah.
can try to compromise because traffic is initiated from untrusted network.
Yes.
This is the issue. That's why what we can do, we can wait. We can put these servers, we can put these servers in a separate network. We can put these servers in a separate network. What I can do, I can create a separate network. It's called DMG network. DMG network. Okay, I have a
Yeah.
switch. I have a switch. What I'm doing, I'm creating a separate name. DMG, just a name. DMG, it's just a name. You can type your name, my name, no problem.
Okay.
DMG is just a name. So what I'm doing, I'm putting all my devices, for example, web server here, DNS server, SMTP, FTP servers. So I'm creating a separate network. It's called DMG network. I'm putting all these servers. These servers are publicly allow for outside users.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
This These servers are publicly allow for outside users.
Okay.
Clear my point? So
Yes.
now this time your see traffic is coming from outside, no problem. Traffic is coming from outside. It's going to hit on your public facing interface. It will hit on your public facing interface. And as per your configuration, your firewall will redirect this traffic on DMD side network.
Okay.
Your firewall will redirect this traffic on DMD side network. So your LAN portion, my point is, your LAN portion is secure. Your LAN network is secure.
Yeah.
Clear this point?
Yes.
What
Yes.
is the
Yes.
use
Yes.
of DMG network? Ahmed, can
Yes.
you hear me dear?
Yes, I can. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Khalifa, clear this basic idea? What is DMG network?
Yes. Exactly. Yes. This is
Okay.
clear. Yeah.
Now let's talk about next point in firewall device. Next point is what? Stateful firewall inspection. I'm talking about common terms. I'm talking about common terms in firewall device. Let's talk about stateful firewall inspection. What is stateful firewall inspection? What is stateful firewall inspection? So let's create a design. Okay, I have one firewall device. You can take any firewall here, device here. For example, I'm using Cisco ASA.
Okay.
Cisco ASA. This Cisco ASA firewall device is connected with LAN side portion. This is your LAN side network. Now this side we are using as a ISP side portion. ISP side network. On ISP side, we have server here. This inside machine IP address is 192.168.10.10. And this outside server IP address is 8.8.8.8.
Okay.
Now, so why I'm creating this design? Because we are trying to discuss this concept, the stateful firewall inspection.
Okay.
Okay, so I have Cisco ASA firewall device. In Cisco ASA firewall device, for example, this is your fast Ethernet 0/0 interface. This is fast Ethernet 0/1. In Cisco ASA firewall device, if you go on any interface and if you type this predefined keyword INSIDE. If you type this predefined keyword on any interface, for example, I'm using on fast Ethernet 0/0 on this interface. So this interface will get a security level 100. Cisco ASA firewall device. ASA firewall device works with the concept is called security level. Security level.
Okay.
Security level range is in between 0 to 100. So if you go on any interface and if you type this predefined keyword INSIDE, this interface will get a security level 100. Now let's go to this public facing interface. On this public facing interface, I'm using any other keyword, not inside. Any other keyword, your name, my name. For
Mr.
example,
Jito, can I ask you, please?
yes.
In Cisco, you type inside. What do you type in Palo Alto when you do the security level? What do you type and which level you give in Palo Alto the next generation?
See, we can take any firewall device as an example, okay? Actually, I'm talking about the basic idea first. Okay, I'm not starting Palo Alto first, Ahmed, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I'm talking about the basic firewall function. So you can take any firewall device.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, so here we have, I told you Cisco ASA firewall device works with the concept is called security level. So you can go on, for example, this is public facing interface. Okay, on this public facing interface, I'm using any other keyword, not inside. Okay, your name, my name, for example, I'm using outside. So this interface will get a security level 0. This interface will get a security level 0.
Okay.
In Cisco ASA firewall device, traffic is by default allowed only in Cisco ASA firewall device. If you go with the Palo Alto, FortiGate, Checkpoint, FTD, nothing is allowed by default. You need to create policy to allow your traffic. But in Cisco ASA firewall device, by default, traffic is allowed from higher security level to lower security level. By default, traffic is allowed. So my point is, in case if this inside machine 192.168.10.10 is trying to communicate with this 8.8.8, so traffic will go and hit on this LAN interface. On this LAN interface, we have higher security level number 100. This inside machine is trying to communicate with 8.8.8. So traffic will go and hit on firewall device. Firewall can verify, okay, you want to communicate with 8.8.8? Yes, you can travel. As per our discussion, as I said, by default, traffic is allowed from higher security level to lower security level. So traffic is traveling from inside to outside. Traffic is trying to travel from higher security level to lower security level. So no problem. Traffic is traveling.
Okay.
Traffic is traveling through the firewall device. Because by default, traffic is allowed from higher security level to lower security level.
Yes.
So traffic is traveling. If traffic is traveling through the appliance, through the firewall device, any firewall device, if traffic is traveling through the firewall box, then firewall will maintain the state of connection in a table is called state table. Yes, all the firewall devices, they will maintain state table database. State table, you can say, connection table, you can say, session table, you can say. So when traffic is traveling through the appliance, through the firewall box, firewall will maintain the state of connection in connection table, in state table. What it maintain? What it maintain? It maintain source IP, source port number, destination IP, destination port number. So what is source IP? What is source IP as per our task? Source IP is 192.168.10.10. What is source port number? Any random port number, for example, 52,000. Destination IP 8.8.8. Destination port number 443. For example, inside machine is trying to access web services.
Okay.
So traffic is traveling through the firewall device. When traffic is traveling through the appliance, then firewall will maintain the state of connection in connection table, in state table. It maintains source IP, source port number, destination IP, and destination port number. No problem. Now, what about reply packet? Now, what about reply packet? If 8.8.8 will give a reply packet, this reply packet will go ahead and hit on this interface. And on
Yeah.
this interface, we have lower security level, right?
Yeah.
As I said, by default, traffic is allowed from higher security level to lower security level. But if traffic is traveling from lower security level to higher security level, everything is denied. Everything is denied. So when traffic will hit on firewall interface, if traffic will hit on firewall any interface, then firewall will verify is this traffic is a part of any existing connection. Firewall will check is this traffic is a part of any existing connection. How firewall can verify? Firewall can verify based on a state table information. So firewall can verify here, okay, this reply packet is coming from 8.8.8. Yes, I have this information. Okay, this information is for 192.168.10.10. Yes, I have this information, port number I have. So firewall can verify based on state table. Firewall can verify, can say, this is not a new traffic.
Okay.
This is not a new traffic because traffic is already available in state table. So this traffic was initiated from inside network. It's just a reply packet. It's just a reply packet. Why? Because information is already available in state table. When traffic is traveling through the firewall box, then firewall will maintain the state of connection. So if information is available, it means traffic. This is not a new traffic. This is not a new traffic. It's a part of existing connection. Firewall can verify it's just a reply packet. So firewall will allow this traffic. Firewall will allow this traffic. This concept is called stateful firewall inspection. What is stateful firewall inspection? When traffic is traveling through the appliance, through the firewall box, then firewall will maintain the state of connection in connection table and state table. And when reply packet and it forward to the outside. When reply packet will come, firewall will check this reply packet information in state table. If information is available, it will allow, otherwise drop.
Okay.
Clear my point, Khalifa?
Yes. Yes. It's clear.
Khalifa, clear for you?
Yes, it is
Ahmad?
very clear.
Yes, Mr. G, it's clear. Thank you. Yeah.
So this is the common concept, okay? Okay, in Palo Alto, yes, I can show you state table information, session table information. Yes, I can show you in Palo Alto firewall scenario. Every firewall, Palo Alto, FortiGate, Checkpoint, ASFT, every firewall device is a stateful firewall device.
Okay.
Now let's talk about next point in firewall device. Next point, it's called what? Firewall mode. Firewall mode. So we can use our firewall device in two mode. Either we can use our complete box as a layer 3 firewall box, or you can say NAT mode firewall device. So you can use your firewall device as a L3 firewall box, or you can use as a layer 2 firewall box, or you can say transparent firewall device. So in case if I have a box, for example, in case if I have a firewall device and this firewall device I'm using as a layer 3, So these interfaces are what? These interfaces are called L3 interfaces. These interfaces are called L3 interfaces. See, L3 interfaces. That means just like a router interface. It means
Yes.
we can configure IP address on these interfaces. We can configure routing into this box. NAT we can configure. VPN we can configure, and we can also it's a firewall device. So we can utilize next generation firewall feature. Now, in case if you are using this complete box as a layer 2 firewall box, if you are using this complete box as a layer 2 firewall box, as a transparent firewall device. So these interfaces are what? These interfaces are L2 interfaces. It's not a switch port. No, it's not a switch port. No, It's a layer 2 interface. That means we cannot configure IP address on these interfaces. It's a L2 interface. We cannot configure IP address on these interfaces. We cannot configure routing into this box. NAT, no. VPN, no. No. But it's a firewall box. So we can utilize next generation firewall feature. We can utilize firewall feature. So the point is, if I'm using this complete box, as a layer 3 firewall box, so I have a great feature, right? I have a great feature. I have a great feature. I can configure, if I'm using this complete box as a layer 3, I can configure IP address on these interfaces. I can configure routing into this box. NAT I can configure. VPN I can configure. I can utilize firewall feature, but in case if I'm using this complete box as a layer 2, I have limitation. Routing, I cannot configure. NAT, no. VPN, no. I cannot configure IP address on any interfaces. I have limitation with layer 2 firewall device.
Okay.
Am I clear here?
Yes.
Khalifa, clear for you?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Ms.
Yes.
Jito. Thank
It's
you.
clear.
Okay, so we have limitations. So the point is, in which scenario, we can use our complete box as a layer 2 firewall. Because if I'm using my box as a layer 3, I have a great feature. Okay, I can utilize all the features. But in case if I'm using my box as a layer 2, so let's talk about scenario. For example, I'm working in an existing routing switching design. Okay, I'm working in an existing routing switching design. Okay, for example, I have a router device. Okay, this portion is your ISP side portion. And this side you are using a switch. This is your simple routing switching design. And into this existing design, everything is working fine. Okay, this inside machine can send his traffic to the switch. Switch is forwarding to the router, and based on routing table, router is forwarding this traffic to the outside. No problem. Everything is working fine into this design. Okay, this is your LAN side subnet. This is your WAN side network, WAN side subnet. Now into this existing design, I want to deploy a firewall box. I want to filter my packet. I want to utilize firewall feature. I want to deploy a firewall box. If I'm trying to deploy a firewall box here, for example, I have a box. This device I'm using as a layer 3 firewall box. So these interfaces are what? These interfaces are called L3 interfaces. So you need to configure IP address on these interfaces. Just like a router interface, each interface will participate in different subnet. If you deploy this firewall box into this existing design as a layer 3, each interface will participate in different subnet. So you need to change your existing IP address scheme, okay? You need to change your single subnet now into 2 different subnet. This portion, different network. This portion, different network. My point is, if you are trying to deploy your firewall box into this existing design as a layer 3, you need to change your existing IP address scheme. No problem. I want to deploy my firewall box here, so I can change. I can change complete IP address scheme. I can deploy this firewall device. I can utilize, no problem. But in case if you don't want to change, anything into this existing design, into this live network, I don't want to change any IP address scheme, but I want to deploy a complete next generation firewall device. So yes, I can use this box as a layer 2 firewall box. If I'm using this box as a layer 2, so these interfaces are what? L2 interfaces. No need to configure IP address. but it's an interface. So you need to give a name. For example, this is LAN interface. This is WAN interface. And yes, you have a single subnet. You have same LAN subnet. If you want to allow your traffic from LAN zone to WAN zone, yes, it's a firewall device. So you need to create policy here. But it's a layer 2 firewall device. So now you cannot configure routing, NAT, VPN. This layer 2 firewall box, you cannot connect with internet directly. No.
Yeah. Okay.
So what is the use of layer 2 firewall device? In a live network. In a live network, I don't want to change any IP address scheme and I want to deploy a complete next generation firewall device. I can use firewall device mode as a layer 2 firewall box as a transparent firewall device. Clear my point, Ahmed, Khalifa?
Yes, this is clear.
Yes, yes, thank you. Yeah.
Clear? Okay.
Mm.
Now, so this is what a basic discussion on firewall device. Basic discussion. Now let's go to Palo Alto firewall device now. Let's start our discussion with slide. So first we will discuss about it. So our first topic is what platform and architecture. Let's talk about product family first. Product family, because if you are familiar with CCNA training, if you are familiar with Cisco routers, Cisco switches, or any other vendor, if we are working with Palo Alto firewall device, so we need to know the product family. So these are Palo Alto firewall hardware model. Okay, we have PA 7000, 5000, these series of the firewall devices you can use for large deployment, you can use for data center network. For mid-size network, you can go with PA 3000, 800, and 500. And in case if you are working with entry-level organization, for example, you have 50 computers, 100 computers, so you can go with PA 200 series model. Let me show you. Let me show you with it. Okay, so this is what Palo Alto PA 200 series of the firewall device. PA 200. You can see into this PA 200, we have 4 data interfaces. These are what? Data interfaces. One interface I can connect with LAN switch. Okay, this is your LAN portion. One interface I can connect with DMZ side network. And one interface I can connect with ISP. So these are data interfaces. We have 4 data interface in PA 200 series of the firewall device. PA 200. Yes, you have one management port to access this firewall device graphically. Graphically, you can access through management port.
Okay.
For locally, you can go with console. Console is a common port. Console is a common port for any firewall device. But to access Palo Alto firewall device, we have a dedicated management port. You can connect your management PC. You can connect your management PC with this management port. By default, on this management port, we have default IP address 192.168.1. This is default IP. So same subnet of IP you can configure on this management PC and you can access this complete firewall device. So
Okay.
this is PA 200, everyone. If you go with the PA 220, for example, let me show you PA 220. So in PA 220, what we have 8 data interfaces. 8 data interfaces, one management port and one console port here. So my point is what? Before buy a firewall device for your organization, you need to know which firewall is suitable for your network. Okay, here I'm giving some example, but you need to do some research first before buy a firewall device. Okay, you can visit this website paloaltonetworks.com/protect/secure the network/next generation firewall device. So you can, before buy a firewall device, you need to do some research. Now here we have some capabilities. Here we have some capabilities. These are what? These are physical models. For example, in case if I have PA200 firewall box, so this firewall device will provide you 100 Mbps firewall throughput. 50 Mbps is dedicated for threat prevention technique. What is threat prevention technique? What is threat prevention technique? So if you remember our topic discussion, we have a topic is called content ID, security profile. Security profile. So this is what threat prevention technique. Content ID, you can say, or you can say threat prevention technique. So for threat prevention technique, 50 Mbps is dedicated for threat prevention technique. This firewall PA200 model can support 64,000 sessions. 64,000 sessions. That's why we are using this firewall device in a small network. I'm working with 50 computers, 100 computers. Yes, I can go. I have 4 copper gigabit Ethernet interface. If this firewall is not suitable for your network, then you can go with the higher model, PA500. This will give you 250 Mbps firewall throughput, 100 Mbps for threat prevention, and this firewall can support 64,000 sessions. We have 8 copper gigabit Ethernet interface. You can go with the higher model, or you can go with PA5020, 5 Gbps firewall throughput, 2 Gbps for threat prevention technique, and this firewall can support 10 lakh sessions. 10 lakh sessions. We have 12 copper gigabit Ethernet interface and 8 SFP port. So you can go with the physical appliance, everyone. You can go with the physical appliance like other vendor. But like other vendor, Palo Alto is giving option. Either you can go with the physical box or you can go with VM firewall box. Ahmad, can you hear me here?
Yeah. Don't know if you can hear.
Khalifa?
Yes, I can hear.
So you can go with the physical appliance or you can go with the VM firewall box.
Okay.
VM firewall device. Okay, this is what PA VM 50, PA VM 500, PA VM 1000 HV, PA VM 300, PA VM 100, PA VM 50. So these are, see, these are physical appliances and these are VM firewall box. Like other vendor, Palo Alto is giving you option. Either you can go with the physical appliance or you can go with the VM firewall box. For example, you are working in an AWS network, in Azure network, in virtualization network, in VMware network, in EXXI network. Yes, you can go with VM firewall box. For example, in Cisco ASA, if you have Cisco ASA firewall box, this is physical appliance. But if you have Cisco ASA with a small v, it's a firewall box. It's a complete firewall box, but this firewall device we can use in a virtualization network. It's a VM firewall box. So my point is either you can go with the physical box or you can go with the VM firewall box.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about Palo Alto architecture. Palo Alto architecture. Here we can discuss Palo Alto SP3 architecture, single path parallel processing. Single path parallel processing. This is complete Palo Alto firewall device. You can take any firewall device here, okay? This is complete Palo Alto firewall device. And complete Palo Alto firewall device is divided in 2 different planes. Complete Palo Alto firewall device is divided into 2 different planes.
Okay.
Control plane and data plane. Control plane and data plane. In control plane, we have dedicated CPU, RAM, and hard disk. Firewall management port. Firewall management port is a part of control plane. If you want to access this firewall device, if you want to do some configuration, you can access through control plane. It means I can connect my management PC with control plane. Data plane. Data plane is for data traffic. Data plane is for data traffic. Your data interfaces.
Okay.
So now when traffic will hit on, my point is when traffic will hit on Palo Alto Firewall device, ingress interface. When traffic will hit on Palo Alto Firewall ingress interface, then firewall will create a copy of this traffic. It will create 3 copies of this traffic. It will create 3 copies of this traffic and it will send to the each processor, because in Palo Alto data plane, we have 3 separate processor. Yes, in Palo Alto Firewall device, we have 3 separate processors. In data plane, we have signature match processor, we have multi-core security processor, we have networking processor. So when traffic will hit on, my point is when traffic will hit on firewall ingress interface will hit on firewall ingress interface, then firewall will create a 3 copy of this packet and it will submit to the each processor, each engine you can say, or each processor you can say. It will submit to the each processor and they will process this traffic. They will process this traffic parallelly, not one by one. Palo Alto is using SP3 architecture. What is SP3 architecture? Single path parallel processing. SP3, single path parallel processing,
Okay.
or in short, you can say SP3. So when traffic will hit on any ingress interface, it will create 3 copies of the packet and it will submit to the each processor. They will process the traffic. And it's not a one by one process. No, no, no. It's not like if you talk about YouTube device, if you guys remember, old technology YouTube device. Any idea about YouTube device? Ahmed, Khalifa? Any idea about YouTube device? Unified
I
threat
for
Unified
management?
Unified Threat Management.
Yes, unified threat. It was an old device. Old device.
Okay.
Okay. Company, they were using YouTube device. Why? Everyone, please turn off your mic. Okay. So now it's an old device. Company, they were using this YouTube device. Why? Because they were using this device because single device for all solution. Single YouTube device is for all solution. In YouTube device, we have networking processor, networking engine, antivirus engine, IPS engine, multiple engines we have. And when traffic will hit on this YouTube device, ingress interface. So each engine or each processor, they will process the traffic. And for example, if each processor will take only 1 second, to process the traffic, only 1 second to process the traffic. So they will process one by one. It's not a parallel processing. No, it's a one by one processing. Networking processor will process the traffic, then it will submit to the antivirus processor. Then antivirus processor will process the traffic. It will submit to the IPS processor. It will submit to the next processor.
Okay.
So it will take approx 5 seconds to process this traffic. 5 seconds to process this traffic.
Wow.
Each processor will process the traffic. It's not parallel processing. It's a one by one processing. That's why we are not using this concept. In Palo Alto, we have SP3 architecture. SP3 architecture, single path parallel processing. When traffic will hit on Palo Alto firewall ingress interface, it will create a copy of this packet. It will create 3 copies of this packet and it will submit to the each processor. And they will process the traffic. For example, if each processor will take 1 second, 1 second, 1 second.
Okay.
It's not a one by one process. It's a parallel processing. So it will take only 1 second to process the traffic. Let's talk about in detail, okay?
Yeah.
Wait. Let's talk about detail about Palo Alto SP3 architecture. This page can help you. See, this page can help you. So as I said, Palo Alto Firewall. Palo Alto Firewall is divided into two different plane, control plane and data plane. In control plane, we have dedicated processor. In data plane, yes, we have three separate processor. It's called content processor, security processor, and networking processor. So you can say content processor, or you can say signature match processor. Okay, both are same. You can say signature match processor, or you can say content processor. Content processor, then security
Yeah.
processor and networking processor. What is the role of each processor, each engine? So networking processor, see, networking processor is responsible for routing, flow lookup, status counting, NAT, and similar function are performed on network specific hardware. For all networking related tasks, we have a separate processor. It's called networking processor. For user ID, for app ID concept, yes, it's a concept. If you guys remember our discussion, user ID,
Yeah.
app ID. So for user ID, app ID, policy configuration, encryption, decryption, we have multi-core security processor. And for content ID topic, for security profile concept, we have a dedicated processor. It's called content ID processor, or you can say signature match processor. In control plane, we have management processor. For all management related tasks, we have management processor. Khalifa, clear for you? Ahmed?
Yes, it is clear.
Let's discuss again. Let's discuss again control plane and data plane. Again, okay? Right. So what is control plane? See, I told you Palo Alto is divided into two different planes.
Yeah.
Palo Alto Firewall is divided into two different planes, control plane and what? Data plane. Control plane, for to the traffic and used for management. Used for management. So if you want to configure your Palo Alto Firewall device for all management related tasks, we need to use control plane. For example, I have one Palo Alto Firewall device. Okay. And these are data interfaces. These are data interface, and we have one management port, MGMT port. We can connect our management PC with this management port, and this portion is what? Control plane. Only for two traffic used for management.
Okay.
Can we take a break for 5 minutes, everyone?
Yes.
Yeah, sure,
Okay.
sure.
Let's take a break for 8 minutes, okay? So 9
8 minutes.
to
Okay.
on my side, we will continue at 9:10, okay?
Yes.
After 8 minutes, please turn off your mic. Please turn
Okay.
off. Hi everyone, can you hear me? Ahmed, Khalifa,
Yes, please. Yes.
everyone. Okay, let's continue our discussion now.
Yes.
So, Palo Alto is divided to two different planes, control plane and data plane. Control plane only for two traffic used for management. Control plane is also responsible for HA communication. It is also responsible for HA communication. So, for example, I have firewall box 1, firewall box 2. In between firewall box 1, firewall box 2, we have HA interface. HA interface, for example, HA1 and HA2, control link and data link. So control plane is also responsible for HA communication. If two devices trying to establish HA, yes, control plane is responsible.
Okay.
This interface is called what? Control link. This control plane is also responsible for session synchronization. For example, if one device is an active device, one device is a standby or passive device, all the traffic is traveling via active appliance. And when traffic is traveling via firewall box, when traffic is traveling through the firewall device, then firewall will maintain the state of connection in connection table, in a state table, in session table. And this session table, firewall box 1 will share with firewall box 2. Okay, will share with firewall box 2. This is called session synchronization.
Okay.
And it's a part of control plane. It's a part of control plane. Logging, logging, for example, if anything happened with the Palo Alto firewall device, or if traffic is denied, traffic is allowed, I'm talking about log information. I'm talking about log information. For logging by default, Palo Alto is using management port. Palo Alto is using control plane. Control plane. What we can do, we can put one switch here. Wait. Okay, we can put one switch here, management port, your management PC, and I'm using logging server this side. For logging, Palo Alto is using control plane. Palo Alto is using management port. By default, you need to put all your remote logging servers. For example, you need to put syslog server, or in case if you have SNMP server, you need to put all your remote logging server in management network side. Management network is what? It's a control plane. It's a default concept. But in your network, in your network, you have syslog server and SNMP server not in management port. For example, in your network, you have your syslog server in DMD side portion. Here you have your syslog and SNMP. So no problem, you can change this behavior. This is default behavior. For login, control plane or management port is responsible. But in case in your network, if in case in your network, your syslog server, your SNMP server, if they are the part of DMG network, so you can change this behavior, no problem. I can show you how to change this behavior. For signature update, Palo Alto Firewall is using control plane. Yes. You need to put a separate ISP connection. In a management network side, you need to put a separate ISP connection. ISP connection, I can connect with the switch. For example, if this machine is trying to go on internet, this machine is required IP address, mask, gateway, and DNS entry. Same, if this Palo Alto firewall device is trying to go on updates.paloaltonetworks.com to download latest signature update, then this Palo Alto firewall device is also required IP address, mask, gateway, and DNS entry. So for signature update, Palo Alto Firewall is using this management port for signature by default, this management port. You need to configure IP address here, mask and gateway entry. In case in your network, you don't have You don't have any ISP connection in management network side. Yes, you have ISP connection, but your ISP connection is a part of data interface, data network. You have ISP connection, but ISP connection on this side. So no problem. You can change your behavior. You can change your behavior. You can tell to Palo Alto Firewall device to download latest signature update. Please use fast Ethernet 0/2 interface. This interface. You can change this behavior. No problem. So control plane is responsible for HA communication, session synchronization, login, and signature update. Now, data interface. Data interface used for traffic. Used for traffic. Clear this point, Khalifa, Ahmed?
Yes, it's clear.
Now, Palo Alto operating system is known as PAN-OS. It's known as PAN-OS. Like if you are working with in Checkpoint, Gaia operating system. In FortiGate, FortiOS version. In Cisco, Cisco iOS. In Palo Alto, we have PAN operating system, PAN-OS. Now, it's a Linux-based operating system. Palo Alto is a zone-based firewall device. Palo Alto is a zone-based firewall device. Palo Alto, Checkpoint firewall device, and Cisco FTD. These are called JBF firewall device. And if you are working with any zone-based firewall device, okay, for example, you have Palo Alto firewall device. This is zone-based firewall device. So you need to create zone manually. You need to create zone manually. You need to assign zones to their respective interface manually. For example, this 0/0, it's a part of LAN zone. 0/2, it's a part of WAN zone. 0/1, it's a part of DMG network. DMG network. So you can create zone manually. You can assign zone to interface manually. If you want to allow your traffic from one zone to another zone, you need to configure policy manually. Nothing is allowed. Nothing is allowed from any source zone to any destination zone. Everything is denied. To allow your traffic from LAN to WAN, WAN to LAN, WAN to DMG, DMG to LAN, yes, you need to create policy, security policy manually. Security policy manually. Palo Alto is the object-oriented firewall device. Palo Alto, ASA, FTD, Checkpoint, FortiGate. Okay, these are called object-oriented firewall. We can create object here. We can create object here. And these objects we can use in our configuration. How to create object? I will show you in practical scenario.
Okay.
Okay, how to create object? What is object? We can create single IP address object. We can create range of IP object. We can create services object. Now interfaces. Interfaces should be configured to respective zone. To respective zone. Wait. To respective zone. By default. By default. By default on management port. On this management port. By default. These services are enabled by default. Only on management port. If you talk about data interface, if you talk about data interface, data interface, data interface, data interface. If you talk about data interface, nothing is allowed. Nothing is allowed. If you talk about management port, yes, on management port. On management port, these services are enabled by default. Ping, SSH, and HTTPS. So you can connect your management PC. From this management PC, you can verify your connectivity with this management port. To access through CLI, you can go with SSH. To access with graphical page, you can go with HTTPS service. Clear my point, Khalifa, Ahmed?
Yes.
Everyone clear? Okay, now. Next point is what? Security policy. Security policy should be configured to communicate between multiple zones. If you want to allow your traffic from LAN to WAN, LAN to DMG, WAN to DMG, you need to create security policy here. Traffic is always unidirectional from source to destination. It means if you want to allow your traffic from LAN to WAN, you need separate policy. If you want to allow your traffic from WAN to LAN, you need separate policy.
Okay.
Now, here we have a concept, policy-based forwarding. Here we have a concept, PBF concept, PBF, policy-based forwarding. If you guys remember in routing and switching, we have PBR, policy-based routing. If you go in FortiGate, we have policy route. Policy route. In Palo Alto, it's a PBF, policy-based forwarding. So PBF, policy-based forwarding, can be done which overrides security policy rule. Security policy rule. My point is, for any source IP and destination IP, okay, you have some entry in policy-based forwarding. You have some entry.
Yeah.
And as per policy-based forwarding, traffic is allowed. Now, for same source, for same destination, you have some entry in security policy rule, and traffic is denied. Traffic is denied. So firewall will check traffic information in policy-based forwarding first. If information is not available, then it will go and check security policy. Clear this point, Khalifa, Ahmed?
You can explain
Yeah,
again,
thank
please.
you.
Sorry. Yes. Any
Yes,
question?
you can explain again these points,
My
please.
point is what? My
yes,
point is
yeah.
what? In Palo Alto firewall device, we
Okay.
can go with policy-based forwarding concept.
Yes.
So for any source IP and destination IP, if I have some entry, okay, source IP and destination IP, if I have some entry in policy-based forwarding,
Okay.
and as per policy-based forwarding, traffic is allowed. Traffic is allowed. And
Okay.
for same source and same destination, I have some entry in security policy rule. And into this rule, action is denied. So firewall will check any traffic information in policy-based forwarding first. Okay.
Okay.
As per entry, traffic is allowed, so firewall will not check security policy rule. No. I'm talking about sequence. Whenever traffic will hit, firewall will check traffic information in policy-based forwarding. If there is a no entry, firewall will check traffic information in security policy.
Yes. Okay. I got
Clear
it.
this point, Khalifa,
Yes.
Ahmed?
Yes. Now it's
Everyone, let's continue
Yeah.
this session, this topic in next session. Okay?
okay. Yeah.
Right.
Same time. Okay. Bye guys. Take care.
Okay. Please share the
Last
video.
session
Yeah?
Thank you.
recording I already shared with you. Please check mail, everyone.
Yeah.
This session recording I'm sharing in 30 minutes. Okay.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Bye
So
guys.
next
Take care.
lecture
Good
will be on
night.
Saturday, yeah? Next lecture will be on Saturday. Next.
Yes, Ahmed.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah?
Bye everyone. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.